I remember my first pregame speech, it was May 21st or whatever that was when we played them. Their toughness and their physicality is what we had to be able to handle. We didn't do it that first time. And I think we're better now with understanding what that's going to feel like. They're going to be tough. I mean, they know what it takes to play and to win in the playoffs. But we're not the team that we were early, and we've been able to just keep getting better. And, we're looking forward on Sunday to giving Connecticut a good run, and it should be a really good game.
I think it'll be good for us. Of course, it's going to be a challenge, but it's not a challenge we haven't seen yet. And I just feel like, I feel like we're ready.
Yeah, it's almost like opposites. Connecticut have been together for so long, well, their core group have, and we're so young and haven't been together long at all. So there is a difference in that, but I think we're just ready to go. Like we have so much talent, and everyone can see that. But yeah, we're just ready to give it our first shot, and we're so ready to go over there and give them our best.
They're obviously a really good team, and I think I remember sitting up here, after game 1 or game 3, we played them, and I'm like, they're going to be just fine, right? Like they just have to grow. They're young, and then they've got to figure it out, and they've got to learn to play together, and they have. They're playing incredibly well. Certainly when you talk about the job that Kelsey and Caitlin have done from a perimeter standpoint, I mean, they're a backcourt combo that is really tough to match up with. And then you have Aaliyah Boston on the interior, certainly what Alyssa brings, and Lexi Hull from an energy standpoint and knocking down shots. They're playing really confident basketball. They're playing well together. They're a tough matchup. And, Becky Hammond had it right. Like you can't outscore that team, right? You got to be able to lock down defensively. You've got to be able to give them different looks because they're smart players. And when they get a beat, they're going to pick you apart. So we got to be able to give them different looks. We got to be locked in, and we got to be consistent for 40 minutes.
Indiana coming to town on Sunday. Obviously, there's going to be some added attention because of Caitlin Clark. Any added pressure facing them in the first round?
I mean, I think it's pressure just in general because it's the playoffs and these games are crucial. It's a 3-game series and we need to win, honestly. But it's exciting to see that we play them and we play them our first game too. So it's going to be a full circle. It's going to be fun.
Let's talk about the Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun. All right, so the Connecticut Sun are the higher seed, so they will play both games 1 and game 2 at Mohegan Sun Arena, which tickets for those games have been going through the roof. So shout out to those people who are going to be paying some big bucks to watch that game. Game 1 is happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Again, that is Central Time. And game 2 will happen on Wednesday, September the 25th at 6:30 p.m. again, Central Time. Game 3, if it is necessary, will happen on Friday. Okay, so that's kind of the landscape of those games. All right. So let me introduce you to the Connecticut Sun. So who are they? Well, they're a team that is very, very good. They've been consistently good over the last several years. They've done it. Their sort of defensive prowess has sustained them over the years, and this team is doing good. It first started off with Kurt Miller, who's now the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. Now they have Stephanie White, who's been coaching the team for the last 2 years, and they're very good. And the thing to know about the Connecticut Sun is that they are all about defense, and maybe a little bit more defense sprinkled in there, just a little bit on the top. It's a defensive cake. It's a defensive pie, whatever you want to call that. This is a very, very, very good defensive team. Okay. All right. And the other thing to know about this team is that they have experience for days. Now, guys, you all saw that graphic that I showed you earlier in the stream. Now, I'll show it again. Playoff experience. Connecticut Sun, their players have had 222 playoff games combined. All right? They have a lot of playoff experience. And again, you compare that to the Indiana Fever, who only have 19. So it's a huge difference in experience for this team. The Connecticut Sun players they've gone through a lot. They have gone through a lot. They know what it means to lose in the finals. They know what it means to lose in the semis. They know what it means to lose in the first round. This team has experienced just about everything. You have DeWanna Bonner, who had a illustrious career in Phoenix before she went over to Connecticut. You have Alyssa Thomas and others who have been doing their thing. Brianna Jones and others who have been doing their thing for the Connecticut Sun for years. And you have a coach who has, been a WNBA player and has been around the coaching ranks for a while. This team is very, very, very experienced. They also have a very good starting lineup. Now, this is a starting lineup that has been pretty consistent through the entire year, though there was a slight sort of tweak for a hot second in the starting lineup. But other than that, it's been pretty consistent, I would say. So for the starting lineup, you have PG1 as Ty Harris. Ty Harris has been a player who last year, I believe she led the WNBA in 3-point percentage last year for Ty Harris. She is a player who can absolutely score. If she calls her own number, she can absolutely score. She also is a player who can just kind of run the ship. Even though Ty Harris is PG1, she's not the main sort of facilitator for this team. She's sort of a secondary facilitator, and I think she does a good job at that. So again, Ty Harris as your starting point guard. Then you have DeJanae Carrington. You have DeJanae Carrington as the shooting guard for this team. DeJanae is a player who, in my opinion, definitely is a huge nominee for most improved player. And the reason why I say that is because from literally the first game of the season, Connecticut Sun played the Indiana Fever, and we saw the new and improved DeJanae Carrington, who was absolutely balling from her defense to her offense. She was kind of doing everything, and that's what she brings to the team. She guards the best offensive player on the other team, and she makes some noise. She's going to sit on you on defense. She's going to try to steal that ball, and you better watch out because she she got some personality on her. She got some personality on her, and she really is an X factor for this team. She really is an X factor. You also have Brianna Jones, who is having a fantastic year. Big woman in the middle. She's not that tall, but she is able to use her footwork, use her moves to get scores in the paint. You also have a player like a DeWanna Bonner. Again, as I said before, she has a ton of experience when she was with the Phoenix Mercury in terms of playoffs and actually in winning and making stuff happen. She is a player who can score anywhere on the court. She can score. She can shoot from the three. She can get mid-range jumpers to go. She can score in the paint. She can do it just about anything. All right. And then you have the woman who makes it all happen, and that is Alyssa Thomas. You can call her the engine. You can call her whatever you want to call her. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about Alyssa Thomas, but Alyssa Thomas is the player who makes everything happen for this team. She leads the team in rebounds. She leads the team in assists. She is a player who has a little shot put that goes down, and it looks ugly, but it goes down. She is a player who will really, really be sort of the dominant force for this team on both offense and defense. And this starting lineup, while they're not high scorers, they are really, really good, and they make results. They get results. And so not only do you have a starting five, but you also have shooting off the bench for this team. And the number one shooter you have coming off the bench is Marina Mabrey. You can call her Marina Money Mabrey. She is a player who started with the Chicago Sky this season, was traded to the Connecticut Sun because the Sun want to win a WNBA championship. And the way that they do that is if they get scores off the bench. And that is what Marina Mabrey has come on this team to do. shoot 3-pointers, and make some noise off the bench for this team. So that's a quick look at the Connecticut Sun. Now let's talk about the Indiana Fever. So the Indiana Fever, they are fast, and they are finally good. This is a team that has been bad for years. Years and years and years and years and years. They looked better last year, look even better this year, and they are trying to make some noise. I believe that Christy Sides recently said in a press conference that she didn't expect this team to get 20 wins, but they did. She didn't expect them to do it, but they did. And it just shows that this team they have exceeded just about everybody's expectations. They're extremely fast-paced offensive team. They're going to score and score and score and score. They're not going to play too much defense. Sometimes they will, but not totally. But they're going to score. This is a huge juxtaposition for these teams. You got a very defensive-minded team that don't score that much to a very, very offensive-minded team who just shoot the lights out. All right. This team, you know the phrase young and dumb? That's not what this team is. This team is not young and dumb. They are young and fun. It's high risk, high reward. When you talk about the Indiana Fever, it is high risk, high reward, high octane basketball where, they can stink it up. They can make a lot of mistakes, but ultimately it has led them to success. They have absolutely not they haven't. It's like they don't think about how young they are and how inexperienced they are. They just play. They play fast and they play free. The thing to note about this Indiana Fever team is they are led by two players who are, when y'all talking about high octane offense, that's the Splash Sisters. That's the I don't know what you want to call them. Whatever you want to call them, they are fantastic. Kelsey, Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark. These players are they're just phenomenal. All right, they are absolutely phenomenal. You have, first of all, one thing I find funny is, did you know that both Kelsey and Caitlin are averaging the same amount of points per game? Both averaging 19.2 points a game for their squad. We talk about scoring, and both of these players can do it in spades. Kelsey Mitchell, she can do it all. That girl, don't give her the baseline, because if you give her the baseline, she's gonna run that baseline, she's gonna get the pass, and she's gonna make that layup. All right. And for Caitlin Clark, she is a player who, in my opinion, definitely is a first team All WNBA. She is one of the best guards in the WNBA already as a rookie. She is a player who can shoot. Wow, she does shoot crazy shots sometimes. Again, this team is young and fun, high risk, high reward. This is a player who can shoot 3-pointers. She can get to the basket and get layups off of you. She has speed that she uses at critical times during the game. And you pair that up with a 3-point assassin in Kelsey Mitchell, and it looks crazy. It looks absolutely crazy what these two players can do together. It is absolutely phenomenal. Again, you got those two players who, in my opinion, are the most important players on this team. Those are the core, though not totally your future core. It's of course also Aaliyah Boston, in my opinion, as well. But though, when you're talking about offensive firepower, that's them two right there. That's them two. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. The thing to know about the Indiana Fever is, to me, their bench is unpredictable. One of the things that I think that happens is, yes, you have Kelsey, Caitlin, Aaliyah Boston, who they all be doing their thing, right? You got an Alyssa Smith that be doing her thing as well. And then the bench is very unpredictable. Very, very unpredictable. Sometimes they come in the game and they making some noise. They looking pretty good. Demiris Dantas is getting some shots up, and other times they look bad. Like they can look really good and they can look really bad. It just depends. It just really, really depends. That their bench is pretty unpredictable. We'll see ultimately what happens. But to me, one more thing I did not put as a bullet point that I should is the fact that Lexi Hull is a really, really good player for this team. And this is a part of that sort of bench being unpredictable. There was a time where Lexi Hull was not playing. I don't know if y'all remember that, but there was a time that she wasn't playing, and her sort of insertion to the starting lineup has made the bench even worse, in my opinion, because she was a bright spot. And now that and so that's the thing. Anyway, let's move on. And let's talk through it. Actually, let's see what y'all have to say in the comments. Matthew says Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell will basically play the whole game this series. Probably. I think you're probably right, Matthew. I think you're probably right. I know that Kelsey Mitchell had like a ankle injury, but yeah, in that last game. But yeah, I think they're probably gonna play the entire series. They probably are. They probably are. All right. Let's get into the previous matchup. So the Connecticut Sun lead in the series this year. So they've won 3 of 4 games against the Indiana Fever this year. Of course, we all know that first game of the season that happened on the 14th of May that resulted in a pretty sizable win by the Sun. Came back a couple days later, and the Indiana Fever gave the Sun a run for their money, but ultimately they were not able to get the W in that one. Come back again, that third matchup, we see the Connecticut Sun once again take down the Indiana Fever, and then finally, the Indiana Fever get the dub over the Connecticut Sun in that last matchup that they played, by winning by 4 points. All right, so let's go to the keys of the game. So for the Sun, it is stay out of foul trouble. Now, this Indiana Fever team, at times, they can be pretty good at drawing calls against the other team. And it is important for your core players to stay on the floor as much as possible. That means Alyssa Thomas staying out of foul trouble. That means Dejanay Carrington staying out of foul trouble. Brianna Jones out of foul trouble. Like this team has to stay out of foul trouble to get out of this series. All right. Second thing is you gotta slow down the Indiana Fever. Now, again, this Indiana Fever team is a team that likes to run, and then maybe run some more. That's what this Indiana Fever team does. That is what they do, and you have to slow them down. That means on a make, on a miss, you are sprinting. Don't find your man. No, just sprint back. Sprint. Because they are going to use every single opportunity to get the ball, head up, and they're gonna do a long pass. So the Connecticut Sun have to be ready for that. They have to keep their head on a swivel, be ready for various cuts throughout the game, because this team, if they're able to force the Indiana Fever into half-court offense, which for them is a lot slower than their sort of quick quick style play. If they're able to do that, it's a lot manageable. It's a lot more manageable to ultimately get the dub. Okay. Another point on here is that Dejanay Carrington, y'all, Dejanay, you better make Caitlin Clark miserable. Okay, that is a huge key to the Connecticut Sun beating the Indiana Fever. Dejanay Carrington, we saw what she did in that first game between the two teams. Her ability to sit down on Caitlin, force Caitlin into turnovers, into bad shots, all that stuff. That is going to be critical for this team. Caitlin Clark is a cheat code in the WNBA. She is. She absolutely is. Yes, she's gonna get her turnovers. Yeah, she's gonna get her turnovers. But she is also going to pass that ball. She's gonna thread the needle. She's going to get crazy shots up and in the basket. And you have to stop her. You got to. All right. Yes, Kelsey Mitchell is gonna cook, but if you got Kelsey and Caitlin cooking, oh, you ain't got no chance. Well, you have a chance. It's a lot harder though. It's a lot harder to win. So Dejanay Carrington, you gotta make Caitlin miserable. You got to. All right, you got to, because that's how you get out of this series. Because guys, this series, out of all the other series, upset alert. That those bells should be ringing. They should be ringing. This is absolutely a Sun team that can be upset. And so these keys, in my opinion, are the things that will help them to actually get out of this thing intact. All right. I also think that another key is that Marina Mabrey needs to hit threes. They traded 2 players and a draft pick for Marina Mabrey. The reason why is because she's a scorer. Marina is a player who can come off the bench and score. Now, you need her to actually score. Marina needs to be shooting and making several threes a game for this team. Because Connecticut, while they can play defense, they're not going to fully be able to stop the Fever. The Fever are going to get points. And so you need shooters to counteract the points. Okay? And then Alyssa Thomas needs to limit turnovers. Alyssa Thomas is fantastic. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the best players in the WNBA. Has been for a while now. She's a fantastic passer, but sometimes she does get a little bit too amped up, in my opinion, and has some games where she turns over the basketball. And so she has to keep that thing under control and be the point forward that we know she is, and just absolutely dominate and take her time. Don't rush. All right, for the Indiana Fever, what are their keys? Well, number 1, take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. This team, as I said earlier, is a team that can play very fast pace. They're young and fun, high risk, high reward. They play very, very, very fast pace, which means they can be very sloppy with the basketball. That's what that means. All right? That means that this team can make a lot of mistakes. That means that this team can, from the point guard, Caitlin Clark, on down, can just have a turnover fest. Where it's just like, what are y'all doing? They get a little bit too ambitious, a little bit too wide-eyed, and then start making crazy decisions. So take care of the basketball, Indiana. Take care of the basketball. Number 2, it is play inside-out basketball and fast-paced basketball. Now, guys, you can do both. You can absolutely do both. So this is a team that is very fast-paced, right? And I think a lot of times when people think about inside-out basketball, people think, oh, you're slowing them down. You're playing slow basketball. No. I absolutely think that this team can do both, being playing inside out and fast pace. inside out, basically what that means is if you're not getting a fast break opportunity, like if you're not like quickly scoring, don't let your guards do it all. Give the basketball to Aaliyah Boston almost every single chance you can get in the half court setting. Give the ball to Alyssa Smith. Give Alyssa Smith some ISO abilities in the post, and let Aaliyah Boston then look out and see what could work on the outside, right? Sure, set whatever screens you want. That's fine. This team is a very screen-heavy team. The Fever do a lot of screens, specifically with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. A lot of screens. And those screens are successful. They work. However, you can also just put Aaliyah Boston on that block, pass the ball to her, let her back her player down, and then have her decide, am I going to score? Or now, since I'm backing my player down, the guards are looking at me. They're turning their heads. Is there a 3-point shooter open? Maybe I'll kick it out, and that gives opportunity. All right. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to this team doing both, playing fast-paced basketball and playing inside-out basketball, primarily through Aaliyah Boston, because that even more allows the guards to dominate in terms of scoring. All right. Number 3, this team needs to play free. You were not expected to make the playoffs. You won 20 games. You were not expected to do that. You are a team that doesn't have really any playoff experience. You are a team that has a lot of hype around you. Block out all that noise. Block out everything that's going on, Indiana, and just say, we about to play Indiana basketball. We about to have fun. We about to have fun, and we are not going to think. We're not thinking on the basketball court. No. Don't think. React and play free. Clear your mind and play some basketball. And when this Indiana Fever team plays free, they're dangerous. They could beat anybody. Literally, this team could beat anybody in the WNBA. Don't think about it. Don't get intimidated. Who cares? Who cares that this Connecticut Sun team is really good? Who cares? Who cares if they beat you 3 times this year? Who cares? Nah. Empty your mind and play free. And play some basketball. All right. Also, I would say Kelsey Mitchell needs to dominate. I mean, that's to be said, but there's gonna be a lot of attention on Caitlin Clark. The Connecticut Sun are gonna really be focused on her, and so it is up to Kelsey Mitchell to be like, yeah, it's my time. It's always my time, and I'm about to score like crazy. Kelsey Mitchell, they're gonna need 27 plus points from Kelsey, because there will be a disproportionate focus on Caitlin Clark. So it's time for Kelsey to cook. Kelsey, she been cooking, but she gonna cook more. And that's sort of the key for this team. So that's kind of my thoughts about what the Indiana Fever needs to do to actually win the series. Now, guys, what are your predictions? Let me know in the comments, what are your predictions about this? So Mike says the Fever has a chance, but I think 2-1 Connecticut. Let's see what else y'all got to say. Who has a prediction? Who has a prediction? Jaden says I'm going Fever 2-1. Okay. ABZ Cat, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, Quita, should Caitlin Clark play decoy for Kelsey all game? I mean, that's not a bad idea. I'm just saying. That's not a bad idea, because we all know, everybody and their mama know that the Sun are going to be extremely focused on Caitlin Clark. So yeah, play decoy. And let Kelsey cook. Yes. But what y'all got to say about who y'all think will win? Pharaoh says Fever 2-1. Okay. All right. Doug says Fever takes the first game but lose 2-1. Okay. RC says Fever want to win the series. They better snatch the first game, and that's fact. Okay. CAC thinks that the Fever will beat the Sun 2-1. All right. ABZ says 2-1 Connecticut is as good as Fever fans can. I don't know. All right. So yeah, we got some predictions in there. We got some predictions in there. Now, here is who I predict to win. I have the Connecticut Sun winning this 2-1. So they'll win in 3 games, I believe. They will, in my opinion, win the first game, lose the second, win the third. So that's my prediction. But again, keep y'all predictions coming. I would love to hear it in the chat. But guys, this is a very, very, very upset-worthy series. It is. All right? So it can go either way. It can go either way. The Sun can win it in 2. The Fever, I don't think the Fever can win it in 2. but the Sun can win it in 2, the Sun can win it in 3, or the Fever can win it in 3. But ultimately, I really do think that the Connecticut Sun will win in 3. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat.